So again, this is able to be manipulated in these directions, and then the reference point between the two can be changed as well.
I guess that's closer to the look you wanted.
Oh yeah, well that's great. Can you explain just how the muskox is sort of mounted?
Yeah, sure.
on?
Basically, the muskox skull is supported from one pin down here and 2 pins up here. So for removing or replacing, what you want to do is support the skull and back off the 2 upper set screws. Do them incrementally on each side. Don't just undo one and then undo the other. You've got to incrementally do it so that they both release at the same time. Just backing off the set screws now until they clear the skull. Okay, that one's clear now, so we go back to this one. And we're supporting the skull to make sure it doesn't fall over. Do that, and then we take it, and it will just come forward and off of the lower support.
Wow.
And to do the process, the reverse process, we simply do the reverse. We place it on to the cradle, and we tilt it back until it's oriented between the 2 set screws, and there's been 2 small filed indentations made back here that you can use to orient them. You'll see them as being rounded little parts on the skull here that the pins can orient into. And then you just again incrementally tighten up both of them until they are flush with the surface. And then the skull will be locked in place.
Okay, and then if it's needed to move up or down, you just use the screws at the back.
Right, and then for any other orientation, it's these screws at the back. They just back them off slightly, and then you can move it up or down, and then just give them, again, these are very lightly snug. Do not over tighten these. Just use the little short piece of the set screw to give you your tightness.
Alright.
So what we do is we take the skull and we slide it onto the armature here, and we give it a little movement from side to side until it seats really tight. And then what we do is we back off the locking nut here, and what we're going to do is we're going to tighten up the nut and snug it in. And what this will do is create an upward pressure which will lock the skull onto the armature. So as we tighten this up now, if the bolt starts to turn, you might want to use a screwdriver on the bottom here just to so when you get it tight, then just to give it that extra little snugness, be careful not to over tighten. You're just snugging this up here, just a very light snugness, and then you bring down the second nut, and that just locks it so that it can't come undone. And then the skull should be solid. There should be no movement when you've locked it up. Oops, there. If it does move, back off the nuts and just retighten it again. It just has to seat in a certain way so that it doesn't move when it's tightened up. There we go. So there's no movement here, it's locked on, and then we can do the second nut. There we go. So that's just locking on, and this is locked on solid now.
Appreciate a photo of it when it's done.
Yeah,
10 millimeter?
definitely.
It's been a
10 millimeters
of love
big.
around here.